8 small changes reduce cardiovascular disease risk by 80% for seniors. Do you want to lower your blood pressure, reduce your cholesterol, reduce your risk of stroke? The shocking truth: 70% of the causes are right on your daily dinner table. But don't worry, you don't need to go through harsh and miserable diets. You just need to change 8 very small habits, and your risk of cardiovascular disease can be reduced by up to 80%. Welcome to the Senior Cardiovascular Health Channel, where we share simple, science-based, and practical knowledge to help you live longer and healthier with your family. Today, I will guide you step by step. Anyone can do it. Your heart can be disease-free overnight. It weakens gradually through small daily habits. Overeating, weight gain, high blood pressure. When you eat more than you need, your body stores the excess as fat. As weight increases, the heart has to pump blood to nourish each kilogram of fat. Blood vessels are compressed by visceral fat. The pressure inside the vessels increases, and over time, blood pressure also increases. Eating too much salt, water retention. The heart has to pump harder. Salt, sodium, causes the body to retain water. The more salty you eat, the more water is retained, increasing blood volume, like pumping more water into a stiff pipe. The heart has to contract harder to push that blood vessels stretch, and blood pressure continues to rise. Eating too much fatty meat, LDL increases, plaque buildup, and arteries. Fatty meat, skin, and animal organs contain a lot of saturated fat. When eaten in large quantities, bad cholesterol, LDL, increases. Excess LDL, low-density lipoprotein, adheres to the walls of blood vessels, forming atherosclerotic plaques. These plaques gradually narrow the arteries, hindering blood flow, and if a plaque ruptures, a blood clot can cause a heart attack or stroke. Eating too few vegetables, lacking fiber, prevents cholesterol from being removed. Fiber, especially soluble fiber, acts like a soft broom, sweeping away cholesterol in the intestines, carrying it out through the digestive tract. If you eat too few vegetables, cholesterol is not collected and eliminated, but returns to the blood in greater quantities, making blood lipid levels difficult to control. Drinking too little water makes blood thicker, forcing the heart to work harder to pump blood. Water is the solvent of blood. When you drink less water, the blood becomes thicker and more viscous, requiring the heart to pump harder, just like you have to use more force to pump a thicker liquid than water. This is even more dangerous for the elderly, whose blood vessels are already less elastic. A preference for fried foods and trans fats damages blood vessels. High-temperature frying and repeatedly reused oil produce trans fats, a type of fat considered a silent killer of the cardiovascular system. They not only increase LDL and decrease HDL, but also cause inflammation and damage to the lining of blood vessels. All of this doesn't happen suddenly in a week or a month, but silently over 10 to 20 years, until one day you start getting out of breath climbing stairs, experiencing chest pain while walking, or worse, having a heart attack or stroke. Therefore, if you want to protect your heart, you can't just rely on medication. You must address the root cause: your diet. 1. Portion control. Eat a little less, live a little longer. In your daily diet, the amount of food you eat is just as important as the type of food you eat. Many people think, I eat only healthy food, but whether it's brown rice, lean meat, fish, vegetables, if you eat too much, your body will still have excess energy and gain weight as usual. Overeating causes a burden on the stomach, easy bloating, indigestion, accumulation of abdominal fat and visceral fat. This is the most dangerous type of fat for the heart. Increased risk of high blood pressure, diabetes, and dyslipidemia. Therefore, cultivate a few small but significant habits. Eat slowly, chew thoroughly. This gives the brain time to receive the full signal. It usually takes 15 to 20 minutes for the brain to understand that the stomach is full. If you eat quickly, you will always eat more than you need before you feel full. Eat only until you feel moderately full. A simple tip is to stop when you feel enough. I could eat more, but it's not really necessary, which is about 70 to 80% full. Use smaller bowls and plates. The size of bowls and plates greatly affects the amount of food you eat. If you switch to smaller bowls, you automatically reduce your portion size while still feeling, "I've finished the bowl," without feeling deprived. Rule: reduce 1 to 2 spoonfuls of rice. Add 1 to 2 chopsticks of vegetables. That's already a step towards improving your heart. 2. Eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. Vegetables and fruits are abundant sources of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. They are also low in calories and high in fiber. You should eat about 500 grams of fruits and vegetables every day. Vary the colors: green, red, orange, purple. Each color represents a group of nutrients good for the body. Cardiovascular benefits: fiber helps reduce the absorption of bad cholesterol, stabilize blood sugar, create a feeling of fullness, limiting overeating. Antioxidants: protect blood vessel walls, reduce the rusting process of LDL, a crucial step in atherosclerosis. Vegetables and fruits help you eat less heavy food. When your meal includes plenty of boiled vegetables, vegetable soup, salads, etc., you will automatically eat less fatty meat, less white rice, and less fried food without feeling nauseated. Forced, practical application: each meal, at least 1 plate of boiled or lightly stir-fried vegetables. Prioritize vegetable soup over fatty, bone broth. Decoration: use fresh fruit instead of sweets and sugary desserts. Limitations: frozen vegetables, canned and dried fruits, as they often contain high amounts of sugar, salt, and preservatives. Whole grains are grains that retain their brand and germ, not milled or processed to remove the fiber-rich outer layer. They are a good source of fiber, especially soluble fiber, beta-glucan, 2 components that help lower cholesterol and blood pressure. Alternatives: recommended grains: whole grain oats, brown rice, whole wheat bread. High-fiber cereals: whole grains such as brown rice, barley, quinoa. Whole wheat pasta. Grains to limit: refined white flour, white bread, white rice, fried donuts, fried pastries, cookies, sweet biscuits, instant noodles, instant pho/vermicelli, butter popcorn, snacks. Why? Refined grains lose most of their fiber, B vitamins, and minerals, cause rapid blood sugar spikes, leading to early hunger and overeating. Whole grains release energy slowly, helps you feel full longer, supports weight and blood sugar control, both key factors for heart health. Tip for those who find brown rice difficult: mix brown rice and white rice in a 1-to-1 ratio, then gradually increase the amount of brown rice. Eat oatmeal porridge for breakfast with vegetables, mushrooms, lean meat, or eggs. 4. Limit saturated and trans fats. Saturated and trans fats belong to the group of bad fats, harmful to cardiovascular health. Saturated fats are found in fatty parts of animal meat, beef, pork. Trans fats are abundant in processed foods that are fried at high temperatures and in margarine. By reducing the amount of these foods in your diet, you will help lower bad cholesterol, LDL-C, in your blood and reduce the risk of cardiovascular diseases such as atherosclerosis, heart attack, and stroke. The American Heart Association recommends completely eliminating trans fats and limiting saturated fats, replacing them with unsaturated fats containing 1 or more double bonds, omega-3, 6, 9. Some simple ways to reduce saturated and trans fats: choose lean white meats, e.g., skinless chicken breast. Use olive oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, nuts, almonds, walnuts, avocados. However, all fats are high in calories, so you shouldn't overdo them. Eat in moderation to protect your heart. Avoid processed meats and processed foods that are deep fried at high temperatures. These often contain trans fatty acids. Check nutrition labels when shopping to see the amount of trans fat. It's best not to buy foods containing trans fats at all. Vegetable oils are a perfect substitute for sources of bad fats like animal fat and margarine. 5. Choose lean protein sources. Choose good protein sources in your daily diet. In particular, fish is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which help protect cardiovascular health and reduce triglyceride levels in the blood. The richest sources of omega-3s are salmon, mackerel, and herring. You should eat fish at least twice a week, with at least one serving of fatty fish. Nuts such as flax seeds, walnuts, soybeans, and canola oil are also rich in omega-3s. Plant-based proteins and legumes such as peas, green beans, soybeans, etc., kidney beans, lentils are excellent sources of protein, low in fat and cholesterol-free. They are worthy alternatives to meat. Instead of eating a beef hamburger, animal protein, you can choose a soy-based hamburger, plant protein, to reduce fat and cholesterol intake while increasing fiber. Recommended protein sources: low-fat dairy products such as skim milk or low-fat milk, 1%, yogurt, cheese, eggs, fish, especially fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, tuna, skinless poultry, peas and soy products such as tofu, soy milk. 6. Reduce salt intake. Eating too much salt causes high blood pressure, a significant risk factor for cardiovascular disease. Therefore, reducing salt intake is an important part of a heart-healthy diet. The American Heart Association recommends healthy adults no more than 6 grams of salt, NaCl, per day. People with heart disease or cardiovascular risk factors, no more than 4 grams of salt per day. In reality, most people consume more than twice the recommended amount of salt, 10 g of salt per day. To reduce salt intake, season your food more lightly. Use only half the amount you used to. Dilute sauces when eating. Avoid overly salty foods, salty stews, pickled vegetables, dishes with high salt content, etc. You should also be cautious with canned and processed foods, as they often contain high levels of salt and preservatives. Prioritize fresh foods and try to cook at home so you can control your salt intake. Another way to reduce salt intake is to choose your spices wisely. Many herbs and spices can partially replace salt while still retaining flavor. Delicious for meals without increasing sodium content. Low salt options: herb spices such as ginger, cinnamon, star anise, turmeric. Salt-free spice mixes. Low salt sauces such as reduced sodium soy sauce. High salt foods to avoid: table salt, fish sauce, MSG, and common seasonings like ketchup, mayonnaise, regular soy sauce. Canned foods and processed products. Restaurantly prepared dishes, often heavily seasoned. 7. Drink enough water. Drinking enough water helps you feel more energetic, reduce snacking, support digestion and detoxification. Not just for people with cardiovascular disease. Everyone needs to drink about 1.5 to 2.5 liters of water per day, depending on weight, weather, activity level, and underlying medical conditions. You should drink filtered water, the best choice, calorie-free, sugar-free. Fresh, unsweetened fruit juice provides vitamins, but should be consumed in moderation. Broth and soup provide both hydration and nutrients, but pay attention to the salt content. Avoid sugar-coated drinks, soft drinks, energy drinks, canned juices, milk tea. These drinks contain a lot of sugar and calories, leading to weight gain, increased blood sugar, and increased blood fat. The American Heart Association recommends not drinking more than 1 liter of sugary drinks per week. Tips: always keep a bottle of water near your seat, on your desk, or next to your bed. Drink in small sips throughout the day. Don't wait until you're thirsty to drink. If you're tired of plain water, you can add a few slices of lemon, orange, cucumber, or a few mint leaves. 8. Treat yourself in moderation. Following a heart-healthy diet doesn't mean you have to completely eliminate all your favorite foods. Occasionally, allow yourself a candy bar or some potato chips. This won't ruin your overall diet. But remember, don't let this become an excuse to abandon the healthy eating habits you've worked so hard to build. You should only reward yourself a few times, in moderation. Notes on building a heart-healthy eating plan. There are a few additional points to keep in mind when designing a heart-healthy diet. Be careful with red wine. Many people wonder if drinking red wine helps reduce the risk of heart disease. Some studies show that wine, fermented from grapes, contains flavonoids and resveratrol, antioxidants that may help protect the heart. However, you should only drink wine in moderation. According to the American Heart Association, men less than 250 milliliters of red wine per day. Women, no more than 125 milliliters per day. But if you've never drunk alcohol before, don't start drinking with the goal of preventing heart disease. There are other, healthier, and more scientifically backed ways to manage cardiovascular risk. Enjoy chocolate. Recently, the cardioprotective role of cocoa, the main ingredient in chocolate, has attracted the attention of scientists. Many studies show that eating more chocolate is associated with a 37% reduction in the risk of coronary heart disease and a 29% reduction in the risk of stroke. This benefit may come from the high flavonoid content in cocoa, which helps lower blood pressure, reduce bad cholesterol, LDL-C, and increase good cholesterol, HDL-C. Therefore, chocolate may be beneficial for cardiovascular health, but note that the benefit lies in the cocoa content. Therefore, choose dark chocolate with a cocoa content of greater than 70%. On the other hand, chocolate also contains a lot of sugar and fat, providing many calories and potentially leading to rapid weight gain. You should only eat it in moderation and balance it with other foods. Dark chocolate has a high flavonoid content and is good for cardiovascular health. Stay away from cigarettes. Cigarette smoke is a toxic mixture of over 7,000 chemicals. When you breathe air, your lungs absorb oxygen and deliver it to your heart. The heart then pumps this oxygen-rich blood through the blood vessels to the rest of your body. But when you inhale cigarette smoke, the blood reaching your organs becomes contaminated with toxins from the smoke. These substances cause the heart to beat faster, constrict blood vessels, and cause damage. If you find the video interesting and useful, please give me a like and subscribe.